Hello, and welcome to this Resident Evil 8 speedrun. So, I don't necessarily know what the categories are yet, but this is going to be like a pretty easy one. So, it's a New Game Plus with um, infinite ammo Magnum and infinite ammo grenade launcher on casual. So, it's really just about getting through the game as quickly as possible. So, let's get into it. I don't have splits, and I don't have any timer or anything like that. I'm just going to go based on the end timer.
So more.
So straight away, this game has a lot of
Nothing. I'll
cutscenes
put her
in it.
down.
They're obviously used as like loading instances as well. So
They're there.
you'll see a couple of
It's like I
examples
said to
coming
your
up
mom.
with this where you can't
That
skip
book's
it
too
instantly,
scary for you.
but there's like certain points in it where it is skippable. But it's
Almost there,
it's
honey.
frustrating because I think that still counts towards your time. Other Resident Evil's cutscenes didn't count towards time, so that's and pretty much it's since Resident Evil 2 remake. I think they changed it so that cutscenes weren't part of the in-game time, and then they reverted that in Resident Evil 3 remake for whatever reason, and it's stuck into this game as well. So this is all just like the opening sequence. The start of this speedrun is quite slow because there's a lot of cutscenes, and then it's a really slow kind of walking section. So this is an example. I can't skip this yet, but there we go. There's a couple of ones where I know the timings on when you can skip it. I just don't know them all yet. So like this, for example, I think it's once Ethan moves his hand. Yeah, we can start. So this whole section is at walking pace, so there's not really anything you can do to speed this up or anything. But when we kind of get into the speedrun, so I haven't learned it exactly. I know a couple of little tricks to kind of speed up certain sections. I'm gonna go for them, but I could screw them up, which could then lose us time. But it's worth doing because it looks cool. Apart from that, there's no real glitches or anything in this as of yet. It's all fairly just knowing where everything is and moving through the game quickly and as optimal as possible. It's an unskippable cutscene because we got to see that Ethan is hurt. So we still don't have the ability to run yet. We'll get it pretty soon. So doing this with the Magnum and the grenade launcher, infinite ammo especially, just makes all the combat encounters an absolute breeze. You're one or two strong bosses. I've looked a bit at the hardest, the Village of Shadows. I have no interest in doing that. We're going in here. There is... So in Resident Evil 7 there would have been a number of triggers. There is in this as well, but it's a little bit more obvious once you're actually clicking on something. So we're going down here. We have to open up a wardrobe and then come straight back out. So I was convinced that something was going to jump out at me there. So we're obviously down there long enough for it to be morning. So no longer is it pitch black. It
Who
is
did all this?
bright as day. And we can sprint now, so we can actually move a bit quicker. So, I mean, yeah, I finished the game. I've finished it now about 5 times. Really enjoy it. I think it looks fantastic.
Where
Like
the
this,
hell
first time
am I?
seeing this, just looks so good. Like the detail they've managed to actually pack into the village. Lady Demetress and the old castle section, while it's cool, she was a bit disappointing. But I'll kind of go into that when we get to that section. Like, she was supposed to be a pursuer in the same vein as like Mr. X and the Nemesis, but just wasn't great.
What happened?
So we're making our way into this house and we're going to meet a survivor, and then we have a timed encounter with some Lycans. I'm not exactly sure what the encounter is, but pretty much you just got to survive for a while, and then it is just Resident Evil 4 all over again. Where bells will ring and they'll run away. But we don't see any of that.
What the hell?
Okay. So I'm not even really sure as what's the best way to deal with it, is whether you just keep running or... But I mean, we're in it now. So this section is to kind of teach you about the defending the buildings, and the shelves to go in front of the doors. I mean, again, they made it it's going to be a big deal, but I mean, you use it in scripted events and that's about it. Oh yeah, in case you haven't seen like the start of this game, I've lost my fingers now. So the first Lycan that was shot actually bit my fingers off. So I'm going to get into, there's a house up here that we can barricade, and basically just it's more easy to defend. I'll show you once we actually get into it. Wait out, like it burning. So in this area here, you can only be attacked from front or to the left. So we can just these guys. So as far as like being good currency and all that kind of stuff, we're not going to be okay. Like, we've infinite ammo.
There's no end to them.
It's fully upgraded. There's no need to worry about anything. So after a while, one of the bosses in the game will appear. Not one of the like bosses, but you can actually kill him in this encounter, but even though you kill him, he still appears later on at the same place, which is a bit disappointing. You would think this, like, if you were killed here, you would then be able to skip that boss fight. Like, there used to be stuff like that in the older Resident Evil games. Like, I think it's great. Bypass certain bosses and things. So, once the timer runs out, because we're inside, a Lycan will disappear and grab it. If we were outside, we would just like randomly hit the leg by an arrow. So you can see like the fire there, and you can hear some of the Lycan. arms. So there's the big guys after spawning now. So he'll actually appear here. We might be able to kill him. Where is there? Well, who's that? We can see him again better. Okay, that's where I'll do them. There we go. So, hit with an arrow. Let's go. Alright, we're kind of getting into the meat of it now.
Rose is here?
So, this is the first action game, it's the first instance of the village. And we're gonna make our way to Louisa's house. So, I kind of alternate between the Magnum for damage and then the grenade launcher, the flashbangs for kind of crowd control. So running through here, there's a couple of lichens. I think on casual it's like not going to do a whole lot to you, but it's just easier just to pop these to make sure they're not on us. We interact with the store. Okay. So small little optimization there. If you try and interact with this door on the other side first, it'll spawn a different cutscene. So you can just go straight to that door to skip a cutscene. Previously in my Let's Play, I thought that I had rumbled the mechanics of the game, and I thought that if you interact with this book, it would trigger the next section, but it turns out this is just a wait. They obviously give you a chance to save, read the kind of things, and you can flip through it, and then they'll open the door. You can get past Louisa here, but it doesn't actually do anything. Unfortunately, she has to get to here, and you'll see Ethan will kind of like lock into place. So that's obviously him getting in position for the trigger of the cutscene. And then we run forward here to skip having to let him run at us. Just save a bit of time. So there is a bit of menuing in the game. I kind of touched on it before. You can kind of optimize it by making sure you're only picking up the things that you actually need. I'm not great at it, to be honest.
Don't worry. Try not to breathe
so
in the
again,
smoke.
we're just kind of skipping the
I know.
things here.
Thank you, Ethan. You're kind.
Okay, so that's that section done.
I just
So
don't get it.
basically what we're doing, we're trying to get to Castle Demetres. And to get there, so we need to open a door that has like two gaps in it. So one of them is here. Use the screwdriver. We get this. And the other one to ensure it's down this path. So yeah. When I was talking about kind of menu optimizations, the screwdriver now has gone out of the inventory. And if you use things in the right order, pick them up in the right order, it'll work like that. Is that you use it, when you need to use it, it'll be at the top of your menu, so you can just spam. But there are a number of keys that we get that kind of stay in our inventory and don't disappear. So these are Resident Evil 8's puzzles. Just put a thing in and turn it. Castle Dimitrescu.
Nothing but blood and death. Huh?
So here's another example. I can't skip.
The man
So
is of no real use to anyone
until
else,
the
and
doll
others
takes a
do
step
the
back,
same.
then I think I'm able to skip the cutscene.
Furthermore, I can show you.
Ah! Jesus Christ!
That's right. Run for your life. Very nice.
So that's our big boy killed that there. Back trying to mess with us.
My word. You truly are as strong as they say. Oh,
So
I think I've let you
close
get
to a lot
away.
of scroll as we get, so I can stop.
Gotta keep Father in the row entertained. So now it's time for the beautiful, blood-soaked grand finale. You like real American ground beef?
Too close. Wait, do those freaks have Rose?
We're up. We're back where we were a few seconds ago. So this is now going to bring us out to Castle Dimitrescu, and we're going to get to meet the chunky big boy, who we will be doing nothing with. So this is a bit slow cutscene. Takes a couple seconds. So, unfortunately, these door scenes are unskippable. There's a couple of them.
Could Rose be here?
So we go up, read this great lore, and we wait for the cutscene, and then we go. And this whole bit now is unskippable.
Crazy witches.
I feel like there had to be a smarter way to do that. So that liquid there is the elixir of life. Can do a myriad of things, even reattach limbs. Which we'll see fairly soon. So, in Castle Dimitrescu, there are three sisters, and Lady Dimitrescu herself. So that's allowed to leave there in a couple of seconds. The three sisters, once we open a door coming up, they will become active, and they can randomly appear.
Where have they taken Rose?
Lady Dimitrescu doesn't appear until we've had an encounter with her. And even then, it's, I feel like certain sections of it is scripted, and it is just not a threat in any way, shape, or form. So this is going to solve a cutscene. We'll see the first sister here, and then we're off. We can just
Let
ignore
a
her.
string one slice your jugular. and just watch. Take a lie, dead, which would you prefer?
So we'll get our first glimpse of Lady D now. Listening to the dance macabre. So it's just, I mean, you could equally shoot them as well, but it feels nice getting through with the grenade launcher.
I can't believe Cassandra caused all this mess.
Alright, so first boss fight coming up. Get ready. Wait for your movement. That's it. So bosses drop an item that you can sell, like a treasure, but we don't need them. So we're going to open a door here for later on. We're going back downstairs, so we're going to have our first triggered instance of one of the sisters coming up. So she'll appear and we'll block this door as we run forward.
Shall I give you the tour?
Wait. And we'll pass it. So, another instance of a cutscene we can't skip, and that's because this time Lady D is there. But despite our best efforts to be able to see her, she will just disappear.
What have you done to my daughter?
So this section coming up now is one of my favourite for the loot. It just looks pretty cool. There's a lot of tight turns. We're going to be firing off a lot of grenades. It's a lot of fun. Nice. The infamous cutscene that she can clearly see us because she's looking through the window. Apparently doesn't. So
Go
from this
ahead,
point on,
do your worst.
They get a test because they were technically active in the house. And we'll be seeing that quite soon. First, we have quote-unquote boss battle winner, where we pretty much just pull a switch and then we just have to dodge her for a couple of seconds.
You will learn.
So, we'll pick up our severed hand and finish pulling the switch. We got it. That's open now. It's actually going to be better to not have here because she is out of sight. You'll slash down those bars in the rear there. So, it's actually better that she was closer to us. Now, this is the first task that we need to get out of here.
Running will get you nowhere.
Oh no, my hand! How am I supposed to play the game? And like that, good as new.
Good.
So,
Screw this castle.
if people don't know, well, ladies, it's annoying. So, I think because I moved away, it stopped the animation. But for people who don't want to know the story of the game, this is a spoiler warning in 3, 2, 1. But basically, Ethan is not even a human, so that's why he is able to do all this kind of stuff. So he's pretty much just like a mold creature, so made from the same stuff from the mold in the first game, and that's why he's able to like do these crazy things. So we're gonna open this door, I believe. Yeah. We'll go upstairs. This might not be the right order actually, but it's the way we're going. So, as I said, is Lady Deathmask is active, so there she is. But we opened up the other route. So I think possibly the other way would have been better, the Iron Signet key. So now we're on to mini boss number 2.
So you finally came to stop! I don't want to
I'm sick of bugs.
Sick of bugs. So here we get our second boss. Over here, and we're gonna get our third boss. This lets us get upstairs and out onto the rafters. Not the rafters, the ramparts. And we'll get an item here that we get to use again, and we'll get another mask, which lets us out of the castle. So we're introduced to a new enemy here, which I think is what we'll actually kill. So these are like belonging zombies now. they are a bit of a pain because I'll show you where it happens, but they can group up on you, and then it's like a deal. In fact, it's probably missed so many now. It's probably going to happen anyway. So we might just turn around and see the deal. So pretty much we're going to zip line down here. And we have to pick up the last one turn and get down the ladder. But they can end up like stun locking you because they fly out in behind you. So let's see. Okay. Not great, but so we're going to come up now to a scripted event, and when I unlock that door earlier on, in the castle, this is the reason why it's for. So when we open this door, we should see
Stupid
Lady D.
man thing! You won't live long!
And we're
Be
going
ready
up this way
to
anyway.
run.
So turns out the room is pretty nice. So I was doing this the other day, and one of the sisters actually spawned here. She didn't spawn this time. So here's an instance of what menuing is because the iron key appears on top of this. So we need this. So last sister fight is here. We'll just pull this back. Shoot them
I
off.
was worried my sister.
So in case you haven't figured out the way these work, they're actually made up of glowing bugs. And it is drops of temperature that kill them. So we've always been opening windows and stuff like that, and then we can shoot them and then we can kill them. So we get that skull because we're trapped at the moment, because we're taking one of the masks. From here.
Okay, I should be able to get out first.
So Lady D is going to be in our way here, but we can just walk past her.
The entire bloodline of House Tommy
And
Crest
hopefully
is done
we'll be able
in
to do these
by the
masks
likes of you.
before she gets down to us. So I think it goes sorrow, pleasure. Let's see. No, that's the wrong one. This is joy. Ah, so close. Anyway, she doesn't chase us there. So there was a note that we could have read up at the attic that tells us about this magical knife that was imbued with a load of poisons. Well, here it is. So we pick this up.
Looks like
turn
you're
around,
outside.
stab.
Max is
So it turns out that Lady never messed with a massive big monster, so she transforms into that. So through her, let's see what we do. Also because we're playing on casual mode, you can see it's like It feels like this is a based on the garden. Like, I mean, this is fairly. This is the most damage you can do. There we go. Save it. Oh, no, that's a lie. There's. So, it's a kind of a scripted fight, so. Keep us on the way there, so she's gonna fly around a couple of times, then she's gonna slap again.
Don't be shy. Show me your terror. Time to die. I'll eat you up, every last morsel.
Scene. That's WB's body. Alright.
You're the one who's cursed.
So now we get this dirty flask, which don't know what that's about. Let's open the door for us. So that's the first section of the game completed. So pretty decent time. So it turns out again, spoilers for people who are still playing or haven't played the game. Rose, because Mia, who's your wife, was infected by the mold, and as with Ethan, or Ethan is a mold monster, is their baby that's like a super mold baby. So the flask actually contains the head of Rose. Miranda, who is the big bad in this, has crystallized her and split her into 4 parts. And we're going to get all the parts back because even though she's split into those parts, we can still save her. So we're making our way back to the village now. The village acts as a hub that leads off to each of the different sections of the game. So you go back there a couple of times, so it's nice to get to explore more and more of the village as you go through. So, a couple of lichens just chilling a bit, but we don't have to deal with them. We can just keep going. And in fact, this is just a door that we open up. Again, another door cutscene that we can't do anything about. And it's the Duke. What's he up to? So we get a cutscene, and he is going to explain now that
There
actually
you are. I had a
holding Rose in
feeling
our
you
hands.
would.
So we need to go back into the village to get another piece of the key. Basically, this key that we have, the winged key, has different versions. And as you add bits to it, it opens more of the game. So that's where we're going to go get that now. Open this. So there's a cool little thing here. So there's numbers written on the walls, and that's the code for this. But if you have to look out the window to line them up to see what they are, and if you do that, after a couple of seconds a lichen jumps out at you. And the first time it happened, it frightened the absolute bejesus out of me. So we got a crank there that will allow us to lift our tractor. And again, this is menuing. So, a little bit of a gauntlet here where we have to kill some lichens. And we're going to get introduced to the heavy lichen, which is a lichen in a load of metal here. But he's no match for the Magnum. Oh. This note just tells us about the key, and we turn and we put it together, and now we have the forward key.
Damn it. Better see the Duke again.
So it's at this point is that we speak to the Duke, and he explains that there's the four lords, and it's kind of set up as if it's like open world. You can choose which one you want to deal with next, but it's in order.
How was it?
We're going to House Beneviento, which is the top left there.
If you true.
And this is in the vein of the bedroom DLC is kind of a puzzly escape the room kind of deal. And this is where there's kind of a little bit of a skip. I'm gonna go for it once and see how I get on. I might screw it up because I don't know exactly the lineup to it. But yeah, we'll see how we go. So there's a couple of optimizations that I'll kind of explain as we get to it. So the idea behind this section is you're trying to escape, obviously, but there is a marionette dummy on a table that you're supposed to examine, and you find different clues and
Come with me.
keys and
There's
stuff on
something I
it.
have to tell you.
But
Mia?
you, and actually, if you
What's going
already
on?
know the code on the door, you don't need to do that. So it actually works out in our favor for menuing, because one of them is to give you a key to open into an adjacent room.
Ethan, you have to
But
fix her.
you end up looping back into that room anyway, and there's a cutscene that
Everyone
opens the
leaves
door
me.
anyway, so you don't actually need that key.
Even Rose.
And then
don't
that
wanna
key is
go.
in your inventory, so you can just
This
do
can't
a
be
quicker
real.
menus. So a couple of puzzles in this section. There's one with a music box. I don't know
Am I losing it?
the exact way to do it. So like I'm sure if you practiced, you would know which ones to move. So I'm just going to eyeball it.
What's going on?
So this bit is kind of slow as we're just waiting on the elevator to go. No way to speed it up. And this is a non-combat section as well. So we actually, once we get in, we don't have access to our guns. But again, I think this is a beautiful section of the game. Like, I think that just looks fantastic. Although I was thinking, it'd be really cool to have a house by waterfall, but then on the same game, it will be incredibly loud all the time. So on the door, after remembering that's hit them. And then we are basically exploring this house, and we're just hoping to get downstairs. So pretty much what's happening is we go downstairs, we get trapped, and then we have to work our way back upstairs. Let's do the Irish strat, as you do.
I've been waiting for so long. I'd make a much better daughter than Rose. Please, won't you stay with me forever?
What?
Alright, so first things first,
Where's my
we
gun?
need to take this leg off, and we'll get a winding key. And then we're gonna leave. So it's wrong way. 05, 29, 11. And we're away. So this next bit is a music box. When I first did this casually, I could not for the life of me figure it out. Because I didn't think there was any defining features on the actual pins.
Why is this here?
But I bet there is. So okay, one mistake, but not the worst. So this will give us tweezers, and we go back to the mannequin, open them up, and get a film negative. And that's going to allow us to do another puzzle. We basically get to go and watch a screening of the ring. So what we would have had to do usually is take, there's a ring on the dummy, take that off, go into the other room, turn on a tap. With the tap, rinse off the ring, and that will give us the code for the door. And then there's loads of other stuff on the dummy that we don't really need to worry about. There's a door that has some symbols on it, and the answers are hidden on the dummy. So like the eye, for example, has one of them, and then another one's hidden in the leg socket. So put this on. So this goes bear. Oh. Yeah. So bear, baby, music box ring. But if you do it right, which I should have done, but I screwed it up, you don't have to worry about moving the baby because it moves in line with you putting the other things into position. So you only need to do 3 moves. I had to do 4 because I went too far. So this is unskippable. We're just going to watch this. And this is going to go and give us the scissors. And so, as I was kind of talking about the menuing, if you had picked up the key, the silver key, it would be in the first slot there instead of the scissors, and it just means that you can't just spam your buttons. So the silver key is what would open this door, but because of a cutscene that shows like Mia walking past it, this door is now open. So we don't need the key. And then we're going to put these bandages and get a medallion for a door. So we're going to go down here. Medallion in. Wrong way. So that's the door. And so then we're going to go down. This is the video that we watched. So we're enacting that now. So we're going to go down here and get to the breaker box E, which pretty much there's no power down here, so that's why we can't escape. So we're going to go get the breaker box key, which will allow us to open the breaker box and hopefully restart the power. But it's not that easy. So this is the spooky portion of this section now. So that baby's not just perfect. So as you can see, the dummy is now gone, and there's this gross looking board. Baby. Don't worry, we'll get a better look at that now. So, what I used to do was do a whole big loop of the room. But what you can actually do is just wait here, and it turns out that this is quicker. So we're going to open this and we're going to get a relief of a child. Not the fuse that we were looking for, but whatever. Alright, so I'm going to give this one go. Pretty much what happens is this is a dead end where we're going. So we're going down to get the fuse. And when we go to try and leave, the baby is going to come down and grab us. What you're supposed to do is hide under the bed there. But what you can do is kind of bait it out to dive you here, and you can get past it. So, I've done this once. Oh, I got it. Yep, I already got it. So we're just going to have to do it the regular old way. So I moved to ready. I should have given him like another second or two to kind of get in position. And he'll lunge forwards and turn around to try and like lock onto you again. And when he turns around, there's enough space that you can actually just run past him. But we just give him a second, he moves, and we're away. So that will probably save, what's that, maybe 5 seconds? Not sure. So anyway, this section is now done. We're just heading back to get upstairs, and then we're going to have a boss battle. So we're going to be fighting Donna Viento, but the way she works is you're actually killing the doll. But the doll is always going to appear in the same place the first time. So we'll put this fuse in. So this is timed that you think you're going to get got by the baby, but you can't get it in time. The doll always appears in the first place, the same place the first time, but after that it's orangey as to where it should go. So we still no weapons, but we do have the scissors, so that's going to be our weapon choice.
Try and find me.
So she's always going to be upstairs in the bedroom first. I know a couple of the spots off the top of my head where she can be, so hopefully this shouldn't take too long. So this is the first one. The cutscene that happens is unskippable instead of the last one. Not even on the last one.
Fucking monster.
So the whole story behind Donna Viento is that she can control, like she releases like pheromones or something like that, or she can control plants. So she is basically I'm hallucinating a lot of this. Parasital fungal infection and put it into her different dolls, and that's how she's controlling the dolls. Okay, that wasn't too bad. So we can't skip this until we snap out of the hallucination. This is key number 2. Or 3 technically.
So that's who's behind all this?
That's going to let us get to Moreau.
Thanks too.
So we're heading back to the village. The graveyard section that we were in is slightly different now. So before there was like dolls everywhere hanging. It was real creepy, but we were actually hallucinating all that. So they're gone. Right, so that's 2 out of the 4 flasks done. So we're going up to Moreau, which is quick enough, and then we have Heisenberg, factory, and then we're pretty much done. So we're at 56 minutes so far. Moreau, I don't think it pretty much is the longest section is the first bit on the castle. Factory is long enough, but yeah, it was a little bit disappointing that the castle ended up being like one of the most fleshed out areas. It's the other areas aren't as like looping back on each other, or there's not as much to explore. They're a lot more linear. The house Beneviento was pretty cool first time doing it. So coming through here, there's going to be the like the zombies appearing. That'll be like top of the ground. So we can just scoot past there. There's one coming up here. I might actually just see if I can pop her, because while you can stun her, you can end up getting caught on her. And I think it might just be easier just to shoot her. Okay, so we're now into the 3rd section. So this is leading us to Moreau. This was pretty tense the first time doing it as well. So we're going to have like a mini boss encounter here. But again, we have the magnet as a joke. And that's it. So the way you're supposed to do this is you're kind of supposed to sneak past him and go into the houses and loop around. But I mean, we have a magnum for a reason. So there are 2 pigs here. I'm going to flashbang them because pigs are fucking lethal in this game. They'll charge you. There was an example of that on my playthrough where I got a jump scare because a pig charged me out of the darkness. So Moreau is disgusting looking, but unfortunately the first time I played through the game, I didn't have subtitles on because I wanted to be immersive. And Moreau talks like he has 30 wet marbles in his mouth, and was impossible to understand what he was saying. And now I have subtitles on, but I skip all the cutscenes that he's in. So while it looks like that you're actually in control there because you're sliding or sliding through the gaps, they're actually both cutscenes.
How do I get out of here?
Well, that was poorly optimized. The factory is really awkward for navigating around because it's a lot of looping passages. Let's see some examples. I tried, or rather, I did the achievement to finish the game in under 3 hours. I was stressing when I was in the factory because you're constantly looping back on yourself, and it gets very confusing to where you actually are. So we picked up a boat key, which we will use in this boat. And we're away. Boat controls are abysmal in this game, so doesn't matter as much as when you're trying to speedrun through it, but trying to actually navigate the first time.
What was that?
I wonder, I don't know. I tried it once and it didn't work, but you have to go through that kind of animation of turning the boat to get off it. But I wonder if you returned your boat in advance, would it actually save time? So we had a cutscene there where we met up with Chris and his Warhound team or whatever. And then just tell him to stay out of it, and then Rose is now a big fish monster turns up and attacks us.
What am I supposed to do?
So he told me that the exit is underwater for whatever reason.
He said the exit's underwater.
He did. So we need to get a crank to turn on that windmill to get power to the reservoir, to the sluice gates, to drain them so we can escape. So that's what we're doing for this. It's always quicker to drop off the ledge than it is to take the ladders. So he knows what we're trying to do that. So in this section, we're over here certain sections. And if you are on it when he does that, it will fall off. Just cap it there, for example. Some of them he does it on, some of them he doesn't. So that is something to remember, which is really good.
Stinks.
So was that one, I forget, but that's the one that we supposed to do. So this is a sneaky one. So once you push this off, if you were to keep walking forward, you'll get the dive. So.
Caught myself a big one.
So it takes a couple of seconds to respond. And now we're in the other room. In the the other windmill, Moro was smashing into the building. So weird kind of triggers coming on here. We pick up the crank. We have to run to pick up the crank. Use it there, but it's not active. So we run down to here, find out how to find it, and then we go back and we can put in the crank. So the turning crank will stop the windmill, which lets us find it. And then we can zip line down to the first windmill. So the first time you go to the crank on the windmill, there's already one in it. Find the crank, and it breaks. But luckily enough, it's disintegrated in the time that we've been doing all this. So we don't have to take it out or anything like that. So we do cranking. This gives power, and then we have a little puzzle. So this puzzle again is I'm not great at.
Okay.
We learned it, but you have a visual clue. But the problem is the visual clue is like turned on its side, so you have to like, you'll see, it's like lights out kind of thing. So not that bad, not that quick either. So we drain this, and we're going to go back at the door, and we're onto a boss fight. And that section is really good.
Got it.
So that's what Moro was turned into. So there you saw a pop up there, 10,000 lei. So obviously as I said, that's the currency that we have. But on certain points there are upgrades for and that's Moro.
Death as he was in life. Discuss the exits up ahead.
So as I said, it's not only is this on casual, and even on casual you can list bosses, but this Magnum is fully upgraded, and it's doing something like 6,000 damage a shot. So like, bosses just don't stand a chance. Okay, so we have our key, and we're heading back to the village. So the video that we would have seen there was Heisenberg pretty much telling us that he wants to be our pal. He hates Miranda, and he wants us to team up. He said he would give us the fourth piece of Rose, but he would have to, or we would have to prove ourselves. So we're going to run back now to a stronghold, do kind of like a couple of gauntlets, fight a boss, and then we're done that section. But what's nice enough is we can skip a lot of the bosses, or not the bosses rather, but the gauntlets. We can just run past a lot of the enemies. So yeah, once we do that, we'll be able to head into the end of the game. So, stun the pigs. So, in all the time that we were doing that, Heisenberg had time to erect these pylons. So initially I was thinking that how would he have done that so quickly, but each of the four lords have their different powers, and Heisenberg's power happens to be controlling metal, so he was able to just rig it up. Okay, now there's goats. Unfortunately, I didn't want to have to kill them, but they also charged. So if this was an SGDQ run, save the animals, they just failed. Right, so the first section of this, we have to get through a bit of a gauntlet, and then there is 2 levers we have to pull, and then we kind of have to survive while the door opens. So we're just going to So you can do a neat little out-of-body experience here once you pull the lever, and you'll be able to turn and see an awkward angle. So I don't know exactly what way Ethan had his head there to be able to see his body like that. Not a whole lot of control there. Luckily enough is the AI on casual are super passive. Alright, so that's the first stage. So stage 2, we need to pretty much get to another door. There's kind of like a serpentine structure that we're following. We're kind of going up and back and looping on ourselves, and we go down a zip line. So on my casual playthrough, I could not for the life of me figure out how to get through here, because I did the whole fight, killed everything, and then just didn't know where to go, or where to go. So all I had to do was come up the stairs here, and I just completely missed it. So
Okay, big guy.
Just get to the door here, and they don't chase, they don't come through or anything like that. They've actually, I'm not sure, I haven't gone back through, but I think they just despawned or just don't deal with it. And we're now going to fight the boss that we killed in the village at the start, the big hammer guy. But first we're going to do some sideline action. You can see the lichen on the cute little bird feeders, but for lichens. So this guy, when you fight him casually, he drops down, you shoot him, and he'll like throw these columns at you, but he'll also like summon in ants. But he pretty much he's going to jump down onto the platform, and by the time he jumps down after being on the ground, he shoots. So I don't think he can dive there. I think he'll always jump down. So I didn't think that was the case. I thought that you would have to wait till he jumps down, but it seems like when he is ready to jump down, he'll go on you. So we're going to go down here, we're going to get Rose's body. We got another cutscene, which was like a flashback kind of thing that Ethan saw. And now we're going to head to Heisenberg's factory. So Heisenberg Factory is cool. It's like a multi-layer puzzle area where you fight some far more powerful enemies, but even casually, by the time you get to there, you are just absolutely rinsing. And especially now with the Magnum, is I'm just going to be able to cruise through the enemies. So we're going to go back to where the Duke is. We'll use the iron key one last time. We're going back to where the Duke is. We put the 4 parts in rows into the insignias, or the kind of central. Oh yeah, in the kind of central area, which will give us another item, which we then bring to another section, which then lets us go down to get to the factory. So this thing here, which is the giant's
It's my
brain,
greatest pleasure to see you return alive.
Nope. So there should be a cutscene.
What was that?
So what I realized, which I didn't do first time, is it's quite correct. Just tap up twice and it'll put me onto the relevant one.
I await your patronage.
So you can see, you probably just saw quickly there, we still have the crank. So your E-item inventory kind of gets a little bit cluttered because you get things that let you interact with the world. So like keys, for example, the crank is one of them that lets you interact with more things. So there's a couple of different sections where you can use the crank to put stuff down or lift stuff up, things like that. So it stays in your inventory. Whereas single-use things will disappear. So like the tweezers, for example, once we used them, they were gone. Because of that, there's no use for them to be cluttering it up. Ah. So, jumping the gun a little on some of the cutscene skips. So we're going to go down now. We're getting covered in. So we're obviously up in the mountains. We're going down now. We're going to go into Heisenberg's factory. And he wants to make a deal with us. So he wants to use Rose to get enough power to kill Mother Miranda, and then use Rose's power to like control the world. But Ethan, being the good daddy that he is, says no way in hell. And Heisenberg takes us then down a
Don't
big
worry
hole.
about the kid, Ethan. It'll be fine. Ha! Just get your ass across the bridge.
And so
Ah! Ethan Winters. Welcome. I didn't think you'd make it past Daughter Moreau, but I suppose you survived worse back in America, hmm? I like you. I'd like to speak to you about Rose and Miranda. Oh, come on. Don't worry. It's not a trap.
What are you planning?
So he kicks you down a hole. You just hear like an engine rev, but he keeps telling the engine to shut up. And we get treated to this monstrosity, which is like a human torso with a engine strapped to it, which is the boss of the area. So we'll see that later on. And we see him a couple of times.
Damn it!
So the movement in this next section is the worst. So you don't really have to climb up on a ton of ledges throughout the game, but this section has like the most. Some of them are marked with like yellow, and it's easy, but this one in particular, for whatever reason, just is a nightmare for it to trigger. Oh, it's just that one. Wait. So, Heisenberg has pretty much been experimenting on the zombies and the lichens, and he's been trying to weaponize them. So this is like what he's been doing. So he's just put like metal plates on them.
This place is messed up. I've got to get upstairs.
Okay. So we pretty much the whole conceit of this area. There's the Duke again. The whole conceit of this area is that there's like a forge where we have to keep circling back to craft key items. So pretty much we get molds for those, and then we come back and we craft them. So the tricky part of that, it's these, there's a lot of like loops where you're running around yourself like a couple of times like this, and it can be very, very easy to get lost. So there it is there. So we want to go and get the first mold, which is a relief of a horse. So these are the enemies here. They're like soldiers with drill farms, but they have a weak spot. That's the only way to do damage to them. But as I think I've mentioned a couple of times now, we have a super powerful magnum which just wrecks them. So we can actually switch to our grenade launcher, which we're going to need to activate grenades. So there, as you saw there was the door with the orange marker on it, and we come across a couple of those, and you can actually just get them all if you use the grenade launcher.
Seems useful.
So this section here, like I think if you want, you can shoot all the orange lights to stop them, but I think if you just do the timing, it's better. Hits. Okay, that's the dog's been in this section now. Okay. That wasn't great. I'm sure there'll be some like cycles or timings that people will figure out and will be able to do. It's like, oh yeah, you can just run straight. Well, I do not know that. My timing is actually atrocious. So this guy's going to come alive. We're running down here. So we're coming down here to get the next item that we need, which is a bomb. And this room, just to make things more confusing, loops back on to where the foundry is. So you can hear the So, cogwheel. Okay, so that's it for the foundry for now. We're continuing on until we get to the top floor.
Ethan. Such a disappointment.
We're going through here and we're always going up the
I
stairs.
thought we could join forces against that bitch Miranda.
So that's what I'm saying. It makes sense to have your grenade launcher handy there.
She took us to be her children. She locked us away in the village. Decades of being forced to serve her. Can't you understand that humiliation? I'm not like my siblings. I want nothing more than to be free of that bitch. So I need power. I need enough power to destroy her. These are the fruits of my power. The strong will destroy the weak. That's the way of the world. You should have never refused me, Ethan.
So I'm not sure if we need to call this here. Just this is the elevator. I'm gonna call it just in case. But I don't think we actually ever need to come back to this floor now that we're past it. But I don't
Got a
know
long way to
with
go.
this. So we're kind of just doing a lot of running now. We're going to face a new type of enemy now.
Miranda thinks we're nothing but children.
So pretty much it's
She doesn't care
the
for us.
guys that we're
No.
facing with the drills and all that.
She's
There's
long
like
lost all
different
her
tiers
humanity.
of them. So we have the one that has one drill,
Destroy her.
one that has two drills.
don't
We're
give
going
a
to face
shit
ones
about your
now that
family
have
drama.
jetpacks. And then we have the Panther class, which are completely impregnable. So the only way to kill them is to blow off their armor. And then the boss of the area, which is the guy we haven't really seen but you've heard, is the Strum, which has a so we need to shoot off the grinder. Again, I'm sure there's a better way to do this. I haven't seen or learned it, but what's nice about using the grenade launcher for these is
Another one?
you don't actually have to hit straight in. You got the AoE. So these are the guys there. They have jetpacks, so they can jump around. So more than likely they will end up getting blocked here if they'll jump up. So one will probably jump up to there now. Yeah. We're okay. Ethan is too much and just pushes him out of the way. I'm sure if you learned where to stand and shoot each one of those, it would be a lot quicker. Anyway, we'll press on. So we're now on the top floor. So, obviously I missed the first shot, which was ridiculous. But I thought that maybe if you let it go longer, you'd closer to it, so you'd have a shorter run when you get up.
That was
But
close.
I think it pushes you back a set distance every time when that cutscene plays. And that's another unskippable cutscene. Alright, so we're gonna go up here. I think this is where we get our next mode. I know I've gone through this section before and I've forgotten the actual modes, which is frustrating. So just want to make sure that we don't forget this.
Soon,
So the
she'll
last
start
piece that
her
we're going to
ceremony
mold
with
or
your
create is
rub.
a key to open a door, and then
If that happens,
once we have that, the
it's all
section's
over.
pretty much finished.
For your kid. And for the whole village. But don't worry. I'll stop it. I'll use Rose
So-
to kill Miranda.
Get this.
Poor Papa. You're the only one who doesn't see your kid's power.
Take Rose? I'd like to see you try.
So we're gonna call up this elevator. Okay, we're at 1 hour and 30. So we're very much on the home stretch now. We're gonna go break this key, and come back up here. We'll have a bit of a boss rush action, and then we do a section with Chris, and then we're on the last boss. So I think if I could get under 150, I think that's a good start. But I'd be surprised.
It's dark.
So we're back here again. So it's at this point that I was the most confused because I was trying to run past everything and ignore it. But the easiest way to remember is you just got to keep running the loop around. So on the way back, we're going to face off against the Panzers. Looks like a little safety deal, although you take so little damage. So at this point we actually need the grenade launchers. We can we can skip one of the Panzers, one of them is just in the way. So it's quicker just to deal with them. So the first one, I believe we can just run past him. We give him a second, and then we can run past him. But the second one, as I said, is actually in this narrow passageway. So while the auto aim at times can be very handy, it's, I don't know if you can really tell from watching that, it can also be incredibly frustrating because, so when you are, as I said before, when you narrow in like that, so I can't point to, but when you narrow in like that, it won't let you move anymore. It locks you onto that point. So if you don't hit, so when I was trying to shoot the chest there, if it doesn't lock onto the chest, you can't move up to it. Frustrating. But anyway, so we're going to face the Strum now. This guy is casually was on a fight because
You really are a tough one.
because of the way movement works, like when you're moving side to side,
Well, I'm
dragging is quite
tired,
slow,
Jack.
and you need to
Time to
fight
die.
all that.
You can hear it. Can't move. Come. Wait.
So I think he might be dead.
Now stay down.
Yeah. So same again, you saw there is like I tried to go in to get the actual shot and it actually locked onto the wrong section. But anyway, a minor inconvenience. So that's that boss done. So we're now going up to Heisenberg to talk to him. We then get thrown back down the factory again, and then we're going to go up and fight him another time. And that's this section done. So there is a very convenient thing that we get to use for this boss, which we'll show now. We're gonna drop down again. So it turns out that there is certain carbon polymers that Heisenberg had manipulated with his abilities, and it turns out that he also happened to have a death machine built out of those specific things.
I'm coming.
So we now have a death bot to fight him with, which is good because he has now turned into a monstrosity made of machines and metal. So we're going to go up where he has weak points, we shoot them, and then there's a couple of scripted sections. So hopefully this won't take too long. The section with Chris, which just comes after this, is a little bit tricky because we don't have our life. We do have a locked in ammo because you are given so much ammo.
You're like a goddamn
On casual, it shouldn't be too bad because enemies just take so much ammo.
This will be my warm-up before I kill you. Let's see. Now, amen. Your corpse will be another addition to my army. Show me what you got. So this is the power of the law.
So there is pockets of when you do enough damage to so I wonder if you can kill him where he needs to when he's dead. So he's taking enough damage now, so it's going to go on to the next phase. But he kind of just like has to move slowly. So I think it's roughly around here. I wonder if we were to actually kill him there when we get sick. The thing I want to say there is he actually pulls you in, so if you can get well done. So we're now going to take on foot. Chris, in the cutscene, Chris mentions that hello. So that was Chris blowing up the building there. We just have to land him. We now have to wait while he comes down and fight over it.
You really should have taken my deal.
So we open the air, we get back onto the bike, even though it says he couldn't control the bike, it now is.
Right after I murdered him.
So this is all unskippable cutscene until Ethan picks up the phone and we can see Alpha, and then we go. Okay. So in that cutscene, Mother Miranda appears and rips out Ethan's heart. So Ethan is dead. So we're at 140. So I'm not sure. We'll see now. I'm not sure if we'll be able to get 150.
Share your screen.
So can't skip this cutscene until then.
Been a while since we fought together,
Okay.
Captain.
So
What was it last?
we
The desert?
can run past a
Doing
lot of these
nothing but
enemies.
recon's gotten me out of shape.
But thanks to your
What we
recon,
can
we
say
know
versus
Miranda's
just
plan.
to shoot them.
Couldn't quite believe it when I heard you turn yourself in the video,
Because
though.
they'll just
Taking
grab you.
5 shots to the head's
and
nothing to
suicide.
sneeze at either. Spooky.
So we're back in the village again.
Everyone
so
watch for
Miranda is now
hostile
doing
bioweapons.
a
Roger.
ritual now
Make
to
contact with a group of
sacrifice,
hostile bioweapons.
to sacrifice Rose to bring her daughter back.
eastern route is clear. Moving out.
Yeah, casual is that just absolutely no.
BSAA craft spotted. 2 guards. I can take them.
So,
get cocky.
in this section, when we come out here, you're supposed to fight 2 of the like heavily mutated werewolf guys, but
It's all
you can control the path of the road.
That's probably when we're in.
So they'll like
Let's
one will
go.
jump up there, but we can just
Large
run straight.
mutated bioweapon sighted.
Hey boss, it's me. Might be releasing infectious
So you can
particles.
see it's going back to skip the section of the future book, which you think are all
Thunder
that
here.
happen.
Leaving some supplies on one of the houses.
This is both sides.
Oops.
Umberise, I need some backup.
I see you. I've never heard of a mutomycete colony concept. Hey, I get eyes on you, boss. Keep moving. My mom saw this shit. She thinks she died and gone to hell.
Reach the target location.
Okay.
Damn,
So, this is
All
the
right,
time
Hobo.
section. We
Marking
have
the
to
target.
blow it up.
Roger that, boss.
We have to wait for these to reload.
Alright. Reloading now.
What's
Just a minute.
nice about this section, again, as I said, is that
It's a
the
small
enemy
mini.
is so passive. So, in the mouth a little bit. Once it reloads, you can just like backpedal. And the enemy's going to just
Reloading. Be with you soon. Okay, Captain. Reloading. Ready to do it. Mold is rapidly expanding right now. There must be something stimulating. It's about to collapse. Hold your horses. I'm reloading. Is that what you're I'm reloaded. Where should I go next?
So if you get hit by that little weasel shooting the arrows, it'll reset the clock on the.
Take that!
good. Megamycete.
Maybe we're close to actually hitting
Found a way.
sub 150. So
I'm going in.
we
The
go
rest
over
of
here.
you stay.
We have a little fight.
I compared the mold at the village with the sample from the bakers, and there's no sign of the genome editing we saw in the E-series. The stuff originated here.
Guarding the Megamycete, huh?
So the way you're supposed to do this guy is you're supposed to get him shot with the
I got a tough guy here. I'm gonna need backup.
Boss, you're on the ground.
There's an opening in the roof. Use it.
Okay, I'm moving out. Get there. I'm overhead, boss.
Good. I'll signal with the locator. Nice. Thought so.
Reloading now. Just a minute.
Okay, he's done. So once he kind of goes on crystallized like that. So 5 minutes.
Ready when you
I'll
we're
keep
gonna
going.
Drop down
Rest
here.
of you, stay above
Bit of a
ground.
cutscene, and then we're fighting Mother Miranda, and then we're done.
So if Miranda was
Yeah,
the
I mean,
fake
I'm happy that
Mia,
we're
where's the real
gonna get
I doubt she saw any further use for her.
sub 150
I don't get How did Miranda even know Rose exists? A moldy little bird told her, maybe?
We can figure that out later.
So again,
Focus on the plan.
this is a very
I found it.
easy category to run.
The Megalysine.
It's all just about the movement and remembering where to go.
Captain, I have eyes
but
on
it's a
Miranda
lot
at the
of fun.
ceremony site.
Keep your
The
distance.
Village
Do
of
not
Shadow,
move
the hardest
until I
one,
give the
looks bananas because
I know it's too late
Well,
now, but
the
we
Lycan
really should have told
attack at
Ethan
the
the
very
plan.
start
There
is
wasn't time.
so lethal. Like
We
one
didn't
hit puts
expect
you
Miranda
into
to act so soon.
coffin.
Even so, you should have told him.
They absolutely book.
Yeah.
So we're going to go in here. It
must be
turns out that
Miranda's
Mia was actually taken and is still alive for whatever reason. Okay, so now we're in cutscene center. So we're going to be Ethan now, or yeah, Ethan. So we have cutscene to skip. We walk forward for a bit. So we're in the museum I see now at the moment, and we end up talking to Evelyn from the first game, who kind of explains indirectly that we're already dead.
How did I get here?
So it's in there. So now the Duke is after bringing us back from Heisenberg's factory, and we're back at the altar site, and then we're going to go and kill Miranda.
I gotta go.
So for whatever reason, well, the whole reason why is that we're essentially dying. So the way the other kind of things were like crystallizing and disintegrating, that's kind of happened to us, but slower. And in true like anime fashion, I'm holding on for my daughter to save her. So a couple of enemies drop here, but you don't have to
Out of
jump them,
my way.
and you get your sprint back now. So we're actually going to equip the flashbang here because there's a section where Miranda makes everything dark.
Going.
You can actually use the flashbang just to get that.
You fulfilled your purpose, Mr. Peters. You disposed of my false children
So she
and
has
awakened the
phases,
glorious.
but with the damage
Now,
put out,
please do not
like,
worry
pretty
for
quick.
little Rose. I assure you I'll provide her
So that's the
with
first 3 phases done.
So now we can die peacefully and permanently.
So wait until we can see her.
I'm not letting you get away.
Now, Mr. Peters, I think it's time you left things in my hands. Go on, rest.
Right, so
This is no end. To ensure I never see I
alright, and that's game. So we might be close to 149 dead. Let's see now. So I think all these cutscenes at the end. Or was that 146.10? Ooh, 145.12. We'll take that. So sashimi because we killed Moreau under a minute, and then stag because we didn't spend or craft anything. We'll save that. Nice. So thanks for watching that speedrun. Cheers.